Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle two terms that sound so similar but are worlds apart: research methods and research methodology. Honestly, getting these two mixed up is one of the most common mistakes you'll see in academia, and it can really undermine your work. So let's clear this up once and for all.
So, just how big of a deal is this mix-up? Well, it's huge. And it's not just a mistake that beginners make. You see this confusion pop up all the time, even in papers that are published and have been peer-reviewed.
I mean, just take a look at these examples from some recent journal articles. They all do a great job describing the tools they used, things like cross-sectional studies and questionnaires. But look at the heading they've used, methodology. They're talking about their methods, but they've called it methodology. It just goes to show you how deep this confusion really runs.
So this brings us right to the main event. What is the real difference? And maybe more importantly, why on earth should you care? Well, because getting this right is absolutely fundamental to designing, carrying out, and defending research that's actually solid.
To make this super clear, let's use a simple little framework I like to call the research pyramid. This is going to show us exactly how all the pieces fit together, right from the very bottom to the very top.
Okay, so at the very bottom, the foundation of our whole pyramid, we have the research paradigm. Think of this as your starting point. Philosophically speaking, it's your worldview. It's what you believe about the nature of reality and how we can even know anything about it. Everything else you do in your research flows from this basic belief system.
Moving one level up, we have methodology. Now, if your paradigm is your worldview, then your methodology is your grand strategy. It's the big picture plan, the blueprint that you designed to tackle your research question. And crucially, it explains why you chose this particular path, and it has to connect back to your paradigm.
And then, right at the very tip of the pyramid, we find the research methods. These are the specific, hands-on tools and procedures you're actually going to use to get the job done. This is the what and the how of your research: the surveys you send out, the interviews you conduct, the stats you run. This is the most concrete, practical part of the whole process. So, the most important thing to get from this is that there's a clear hierarchy. Your foundational paradigm, your worldview, it shapes your strategic methodology. And that methodology then dictates which specific methods, which tools are the right ones for the job. For your research to make any sense, all three of these levels have to be perfectly aligned. All right, now let's do a direct head-to-head comparison of the two terms that cause all the trouble: methodology and methods. I think seeing them side by side like this makes the difference pop. This table just nails it, doesn't it? Let's look at the scope. Methodology is your big picture, your overall strategy. Methods, they're the specific tools you use. Now, what about the focus? Well, methodology is all about the why. It's the justification for your entire approach. Methods, on the other hand, are about the what and the how, the actual techniques you're using. It all comes down to planning versus doing. Let's make this real with some examples. Methodologies are these high-level strategies. So if you pick qualitative research as your methodology, what you're saying is, my strategy is to explore people's experiences and find the meaning behind them. Or if you choose experimental research, your strategy is to test a cause and effect relationship in a really controlled way. See? These aren't tools, they're entire philosophies of investigation. Now look at the methods. See how different these feel? These are the actual things you do. If your methodology is qualitative, your methods might be conducting in-depth interviews or running focus groups. These are the practical, tangible tools you use to gather your data. Okay, so we know the difference now. But you might still be thinking, all right, I get it, but is this just being picky about words? And the answer is a hard no. Getting this right is what makes or breaks the credibility of your entire study. Let's talk about why this matters so much. You see, having a really clear methodology section isn't just about checking a box. It's you making your case for why your research can be trusted. It builds credibility because it shows your work was carefully planned, not just thrown together. It makes your findings more valid. And, this is a big one, it gives other researchers a clear enough roadmap to replicate your study. And that is the absolute bedrock of good science. So, let's wrap this up. I'm going to give you one final super simple analogy that will lock this in so you never get these two terms confused again. Just think of it like this. If you were going to build a house, your methodology is the architect's blueprint. It's the whole design, the overall strategy, the logic that explains why the kitchen goes here and the windows go there. Your methods?
Those are your hammer, your saw, your nails. They are the actual tools you use to build the house according to the blueprint. You absolutely need both, right? But you would never ever call your hammer a blueprint.
So the next time you're writing up your research, just ask yourself this question. Is my work built on a solid foundation? Have I just listed my tools, or have I actually explained the blueprint? Because making sure your paradigm, your methodology, and your methods are all lined up, well, that's the difference between research that just gets done and research that gets done right.